ladies and gentlemen, welcome to not a new episode, but a new entry into Unplugged Opinions. This is going to be a very special episode. No Flam today, as you guys can tell. It's just going to be me and Loke discussing who we think is going to win the Club World Cup, because I definitely wanted to continue this discussion more with Loke. And since Flam's not interested, he wanted to not be part of this, unfortunately. But yeah, Loke, how have you been feeling overall about this tournament? I know.
Overall,
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive. I'm pretty positive on this tournament. When the whole thing started, I would have said that I was kind of negative on it because the previous Club World Cup had been going on for years, really, before this new format, and it was pretty bad, in my personal opinion, right? And finally, I think FIFA has figured something out here. This one is much better. The amount of teams also makes it more entertaining. The structure, and even the time that the teams are given between the end of their respective seasons, especially European teams, makes it so they don't just, mug off the tournament. Because in previous years, you'd get a lot of half-hearted performances because all the teams were tired. Now they're given 2-3 weeks before the whole thing even starts, which is way more than what they used to get. So I'm actually very happy with this one.
Yeah. So when I went into this tournament, I was actually excited, but I knew that a lot of the European fans didn't really care for this tournament. But it's kind of funny, when you kind of look back at the start of it all, the European fans were completely shitting on it, or saying it doesn't really matter. But now you just see everyone has practically been sold on this, or if not, they're enjoying it more than they thought they would. Yeah. Overall,
I'm doing it. I think disingenuous, if we're being honest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, coming from someone who's just been watching mostly MLS and a few Liga MX games, and of course I've seen a few highlights of European games, but it's been fun watching just seeing the South American teams' fan bases travel to the US, or the European fans just dominate in a stadium. It's been fun seeing the fan bases travel so far to watch their team.
How fun has it been watching? Because I'm sure because of the time difference, you don't watch lots of British, Spanish, or German teams play.
Oh no, yeah, it's been okay. So I actually had this discussion with my parents because my dad watches soccer, so I actually told them it feels so yeah, football. Well, soccer here because this is the U.S., but yeah, football.
Well, I live in Mozambique, so what's up?
Okay. Okay. We'll just say football when it comes to Europe then. But yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
So you were talking to your parents then?
Yeah. So I was actually telling them it's been a fresh of breath air watching more professional teams, because watching the MLS, you're kind of used to watching mediocrity when it comes to defending.
Yeah.
But the passing is just so good. When it comes to the European teams, just the way they structure their formations is so clean too. No sloppy pass. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot less randomness happening when you bring in the Europeans, and sometimes even the South Americans, because they take ball possession very seriously.
Yeah. Even with Liga MX, the thing I don't like about the way they play is their play style is completely different, and it leads to a lot of terrible giveaways. So as much as I like Liga MX and how great they are, their play styles have a big problem when it comes to playing against more well structured teams.
They lack technicality.
Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of talent because a lot of these European teams, if you pay attention, there's a lot of South Americans. There's a couple of North Americans and there's Africans and whatever. It's not because of where the players are from. It's just because the team structures and the league structures, wherever it is that they came from, aren't very polished.
Yeah.
So
Basically.
if you go and watch the Liga MX, it's not great. But if you look at a couple of the Mexican players that have moved to Europe, it's like, oh, okay. So maybe it's not the players. It's where they're at.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways, besides that, yeah. So I don't know what teams you were following like during the knockout round, but I certainly had my eye on a few. Of course, I kept my eye mostly on the MLS teams because I wanted MLS to do good.
Yeah.
And
I was looking at the Brazilians, honestly, because it's like my adopted nation. I've never been there, but if I could be reincarnated and pick where I would be born, I'd want to be born Brazilian. I
yeah,
love that place.
yeah, and they certainly
Oh.
shocked the world with how they were playing. Certainly,
Oh,
Flamengo
really?
and Botafogo.
They didn't shock anyone, in my opinion.
Oh well,
I mean,
I'll kind of get into why I think they shocked the world. And like, what if you were anywhere on on the side of soccer Twitter, you saw like people were freaking out about like
football.
Botafogo and yeah, but actually, you know what? Let's just get right into it. So okay, of course, I'm just gonna talk about this real quick because this was one of the clubs I didn't expect anything about after we first talked about it, and that's Auckland City. So
Which team?
Auckland, the New Zealand team.
Oakland City. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that team, of course, the reason I want to talk about them is because, like, of course, no one thought they were gonna get to go through the round of 16s, right? So of course they were eliminated, but the way they actually ended their playoff or their Club World Cup story was actually pretty good. They actually drew with it was one of the Argentinian teams. It wasn't well, it was Boca
What group
Juniors.
were they
It was
in?
Boca Juniors.
Oh wow, they should have lost handily.
Yeah, and that win would have actually gave Boca the chance to get to the round of 16s. But unfortunately, Auckland spoiled that party and gave Benfica the
no.
chance to get through.
Oof.
Yeah.
And then Benfica beat Bayern, right?
Yep. Basically.
That was wild. That was wild. For me,
Yeah.
the biggest surprise was Palmeiras topping their group. I was surprised. Like that's my team, obviously, right? It's my favorite team. But I personally thought Porto, the Portuguese team, I thought they were gonna do it way better than they actually did.
Yeah, I thought so too. But I get
Yeah.
well, considering the fact that I think Porto has actually been in the previous World Cup for like formats, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I thought they were gonna go at least pretty far. But I guess from what I read online, I guess the team itself has been kind of struggling in recent times.
You know what the problem is with Portuguese teams? Teams from Portugal, they get how can I put this? They get picked off almost every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Like right now, the team that's getting destroyed in terms of their players are being bought left, right, and center is Sporting. And they've been the champion in Portugal for like 1 or 2 years now running. What happens is the rest of the European teams, they pay a lot of attention to what happens in Portugal because Portugal usually has a very good like training base for players. And as soon as good players start like amassing in one specific team, usually it's Benfica, Porto, and Sporting. They'll win like 1 or 2 leagues and they'll go far in the Champions League. And then the next year, boom, 4 or 5 of their key players gone.
Yep.
One goes to Bayern Munich, the other one goes to Chelsea, the other one goes to Milan or something, and then the
Yep.
team's dead again. That's the cycle, and I think Porto is in that cycle because if you remember they used to have like Nicholas Jackson and a whole bunch of other players that got bought in 2022, 23, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Nicholas Jackson
So
is
they're
yeah, he's no longer
because
there. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It's unfortunate, but yeah, that's just the reality when you're like you have other bigger European like players like buying
It's the
more.
football pyramid.
Yeah,
It's the football pyramid. Like
yeah,
even Inter Miami could start having success if they find like a couple young, very good players. Trust me, those players will not retire at Inter Miami. It just is what it is.
yeah.
You know?
Well, actually, speak about Inter Miami, they were another surprise because I didn't expect them to go through the round of 16. As I don't know if you remember from the last time we talked about this, but they actually surprised me with the win against Porto. So, hey, props on them for doing that, and that was actually a big moment for MLS being like the first team to ever beat a European side.
Yeah.
So, yeah, props to making history right there. But I just want to give an honorable shout out to the game that was happening during Miami's and Palmeiras's game, because even though that game was pretty good, I think the Porto versus Al Ali game was top. Even though it ended in a draw, that game was just so good to watch through and through.
I saw highlights. It looked kind of frantic. Both teams were pretty desperate.
Yeah. Yeah, and considering the fact that if one of them won, they would knock out either Miami or Palmeiras was very dramatic. And the fact that those two managed to get a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very tight group.
Yes, very.
Essentially, Palmeiras topped the group on goal difference.
Yeah, well, I think they would have. I think if Al-Ali and Porto still drew, I think Miami would have passed Palmeiras in goal differential then at that point, right? Or no? Oh no, no, because I think they scored 4 against Porto. No, it was just 1.
Yeah, no, I think we had the best defense actually.
Yeah.
I think we only allowed like maybe 2 or 3 goals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah. Miami and Palmeiras were the two to get out of their group. And then the other surprise was Volkswagen, how they played. I honestly I don't know if what we actually talked about who we're gonna go through, but I think me and you actually agreed that Atletico and PSG would go through.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Volkswagen turned that script around and was like, nah, we're going in. The fact that the PSG that they defeated was more like a heavily rotated squad, and they managed to pull the upsets of upsets in this tournament that no one saw coming, considering PSG just had come off of a epic win in the UEFA conference or UEFA Champions League. So yeah, props to Volkswagen for making it through. But the one thing I do want to criticize about the tournament was the fact that Palmeiras and Volkswagen, two Brazilian sides, got put against each other, which
yeah, that kind of sucked. It kind of sucked.
Yeah, I would have been better if another team would have gone against them, but hey. I mean that's probably gonna happen with this structure and this format. Like, oh well.
Yeah, it's the luck of the draw, really.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Let's see, what other team? Oh yeah, the Monterrey. I honestly was surprised that they actually managed to make it over. Make it over the group. Yeah.
That was a pretty big shot.
And that Aurora Red Diamonds, though, I think Monterrey probably gave the best goals out of the entire tournament with 2 shots. I don't know if you saw that game, but so one of the players that I actually followed from his time at Pachuca, right? which I didn't know he went to Monterrey until like just like a month or two ago. But that's Nelson Diosa. I'm telling you, watch out for him. He might go to Europe soon because even Monterrey like jacked up his like worth because they don't want to let him go just yet.
Is he that good?
Yeah. So he's tall, so he's a bit slower than some players, but he has a thunderbolt of a leg on him. He can like kick from really far out and like be close to on target on a goal practically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Look up some of his highlights and yeah, trust me. he does that quite frequently, and sometimes he's not that lucky to make it a goal, but like he is on target with his shots.
All right, I'll look him up.
Yeah.
I'll look him up.
Yeah. And then they also had another long distance shot too. Like I think it was like halfway in the first half, and that goal was so beautiful. It was shot at an angle and curved into the goal. So there was nothing the goalie would have done against that, and that put Monterrey in the spot that they were in to get them into the round of 16s. Props to them.
Oh yeah, props. Getting over River Plate, that's a big one.
Yeah,
Very big one.
Honestly, with how the Argentinian league is doing right now, I'm honestly not that surprised. But that's a whole nother thing that you can get into.
Yeah, that's another podcast entirely.
Yeah. And then Flamengo, they shocked. I would say that they were, besides Botafogo, they were the other one to shock like the world with how they beat Chelsea 4-2.
Yeah, not really. In my opinion, not really.
Oh, you weren't that surprised?
No. Flamengo is a huge team, great players, and like habitually, every single year or every other year, 2 or 3 players get sold from that team to Europe for like 30-40 million. They always have great players coming out of that academy. So I wasn't shocked. For me, Flamengo and Palmeiras, remember we spoke about this before, I always had high expectations for them. So I wasn't shocked when they beat Chelsea and when they made it out the group. Not at all.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised that they drew against LAFC, if we're going to talk about surprises.
Yeah, that one I didn't see coming at all. I thought like LAFC would have just like gave them the win, to be honest.
Yeah. I would have thought they would draw against Chelsea and win against ES Tunis and LAFC. That's what I thought would have happened.
Yeah.
The inverse.
To be fair, my LAFC, as good as their attack is, they do have a pretty solid defense sometimes when they actually choose to play well. It's So I was kind of happy for that, but just disappointed that they couldn't get a win at all. But
yeah. I mean, even ES Tunis got a win.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah. I'm a bit bummed about that. Although we did have some clear chances. It's just unfortunate that none of them could make it through into the net.
Yeah, it was not a good showing for LAFC, no doubt.
Yeah. They've had better moments, but that's
Star players on LAFC. They don't have any.
Yeah, but that's about it in terms of the surprises. Let's get into the round of 16s then, okay? So okay. I guess the first one I want to start with is the Benfica game, because that game was an anomaly in terms of how that game went. So Chelsea had one goal throughout like pretty much the first half where they scored, and then almost all the second half until a weather delay, like in the 80th minute. It was still Chelsea 1-0, and then after that weather delay, which I think like took 2 hours. So after that weather delay cleared up, Benfica scores the tie goal to make it go into overtime.
And then in overtime,
Yep. And that was so interesting that like in overtime, Chelsea just like decided to turn up their style and just score 3 goals. Unfortunate for Benfica. They played well, but they just couldn't hold. I thought there was a moment where I thought like are they going to take this to penalties? But nope. Chelsea pulled through in the end. I don't know.
For me, the big highlight in the last 16 was Man City versus Al Hilal.
Yes. that one was a nail biter too. Honestly, I wasn't expecting Manchester City to be as terrible as defensively as they were. But I guess that kind of just speaks to the fact of like considering if you look at their run in the Premier League, that how bad they were performing there too, kind of transition into the Club World Cup too. Unfortunately for them.
Yeah, but it's crazy, man. Because I thought what was happening in the Prem was like an anomaly, you know. And
Yeah.
maybe they were just, I don't know, tired or jaded or whatever. But they just keep on losing, and it's so worrying because if you look at Al Hilal, like the other teams from the Saudi Arabian League have a whole bunch of like European or ex-European superstar attackers. Al Hilal is not one of those teams. They have a very good midfield, but the attack and the defense is just decent players, no superstars to speak of. But they tore through Man City several times. They could have scored 8 if they had more clinical finishes. So yeah, for me that was a highlight because I made the same note that you just did, which is I thought the I thought the losing in the Premier League was an anomaly, but this looks like a real problem going into next season. Like I'm legit worried Man City might struggle again next season in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what everyone thought was an anomaly after Julian Alvarez left to Atletico Madrid. I think it's still kind of a problem here that they're still not able to like get their attack like going as hard as they were before.
Yeah. And many of us thought, hey, now that they've bought Erling Haaland, you know, they're gonna be unbeatable.
Yeah, I mean he's able to still get the goals, but he's not getting like the right passes to him though. Or if he is, they're pouncing in on him defensively, the opposing team. So I think they figured out Erling Haaland pretty much. So which practically leaves Manchester City just practically toothless in the attack.
Yeah, they're definitely in a bind.
Yeah. And okay, I guess from there, I guess I want to go into the other interesting story, which was Inter Milan, which yeah, they struggled to get into the round of 16. To put it frank.
Yeah, they do.
They struggled against Monterrey, and they got I think they barely got a win over Urawa Red Diamonds. I think it was just like a 2-1 victory, right? Might have been 3. But I know that third goal came at the very end.
Pretty sure it was 3.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a comfortable 3. You know,
yeah.
Sometimes the score can flatter.
Yeah. And Inter Milan, of course, in the round of 16, they lost to Fluminense of all teams, which I honestly thought that with Inter's attack that they would have gone through pretty easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't even manage to get one goal on, or even like one hit on target. And props to Fluminense for holding defensively. Like,
yeah, it was an interesting game to watch. Inter had more ball, but Fluminense were decisive when they had the ball.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I think me and you didn't really like think about Fluminense making it into the round of 16s either. I think we kind of just wrote them
True.
off. So
Yeah. Because
yeah,
Atleti were in the group, right? So we thought Inter and Atleti. That's what we thought we were gonna go through.
yeah, practically.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll leave that side for now. Actually,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll leave that side for now, and then so the next game I want to go into was Bayern Munich and Flamengo. So Bayern in their run in their group, they absolutely dominated. Aside from the Benfica anomaly, which I was well. To be fair, that was a hot day, so they didn't put any of the good players in. So yeah, but still, they pretty much
A lot.
dominated their entire group. Which props to them. Which I honestly thought, besides PSG, Bayern looked like the most deadliest team.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Club World Cup has lots of instances of way smaller teams playing against gigantic teams. And Bayern Munich is one of those teams that is like built to dismantle little teams that just want to defend and play on the counter attack, because that's all that they do in the Bundesliga. You know, no one actually tries to play them properly in the Bundesliga except for like Dortmund maybe and Leverkusen last year. But most of the time, they're just facing teams that just want to defend against them. So I also have the same thought and the same feeling about Bayern that, like, yeah, they're probably going to dominate. It
Yeah,
wasn't so against Flamengo. The score ended 4-1, 4-2, I think, with Flamengo. But if you
yeah.
watch the game, it was not a Bayern Munich domination.
No, yeah. Flamengo
Flamengo,
gave it their all.
oh yeah, they gave them a game.
Yeah. Unfortunate for the Flamengo fans, but they certainly had a great run.
Yeah, it was a good run. It was a good
Yeah.
run. But I think people would have been way more shocked if Flamengo had beat Bayern. Oh my lord, that would
Yeah.
have been. Oof.
That would have been interesting.
Someone might have lost their job at Bayern. I'm just saying that's how sure everyone was that Flamengo was going to lose.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
guess
they gave a good account of themselves.
the next group. Actually, I want to talk about Borussia Dortmund since I already talked about how Monterrey got into the group, but I want to talk about Borussia Dortmund. Honestly, watching them, they weren't playing as good as Bayern, and you clearly saw that. Like they were just like anytime like they were leading, they just tried to held that like score line, and
Yeah,
you could tell they were struggling too when they were trying to hold defensively.
it was not a convincing qualification for Dortmund. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, especially with a just a team of that caliber, you expect them to win more handedly than what they were scoring like too.
Mm.
But I guess that kind of shows like to your point to how you talked about how Bayern dismantles other teams, so the other German teams have to practically build around that.
Exactly, exactly. They don't have much practice of being on the front foot in matches.
Yeah,
So for me, it
yeah,
wasn't surprising. Even their win against Monterrey,
yeah. No,
I think
that one was
they
that one could have easily gone to penalties had Monterrey just had better like finishing in their final half, because in that like 70th 80th minute, Monterrey was just practically full on in Dortmund's side.
well, I didn't
Yeah,
watch that game, so
I did, and I was rooting for Monterrey, of course, because of course I want more American teams to win. But yeah,
yeah,
Monterrey unfortunately couldn't pull through, but they gave it their all. And it's just unfortunate too that what gave Borussia Dortmund their two goals was lapse in defense for Monterrey.
sometimes that's what it's about in football. It's
Yeah,
not even about brilliance. It's not even about brilliance. It's about just were you able to do the bare minimum? Were you able to do the basics? And if you mess up there, that's when they'll take advantage.
Yeah, basically. All right.
I'm not. You know what? Personally, I am shocked that Monterrey and Inter Miami even made it to the knockout phase. I was ready
I
to believe that
I'm not
none of
shocked. I'm
the US
not
teams
shocked.
would make it.
I'm not shocked Monterrey made it because honestly, they're one of the uh, better Liga MX teams currently. Sure, they're not the best. Sure, they're not up there with Club America, but like they still have a lot of money that goes through the team, so they're able to buy some quality players. I mean, Bertarami too. He proved himself in this tournament. So, yeah.
Someone might get him after what they saw. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, they're certainly going after some of Monterrey's players right now. But yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I guess the big one that everyone was marketing was the PSG versus Miami because, of course, it's Messi's old team. So Messi going against his former team. Yeah, quite a story there. Unfortunately,
and it went
yeah,
exactly how we all thought it would go.
Yeah, predictably.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wanted like a romantic situation where Messi scores like 3 goals or 4 goals or something.
Or heck, even score 1 goal on them.
Yeah. But if you take your emotions out of it, 4-0, that was the right result. Like I watched that game.
It's kind of
no chance.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny like when you look at it because like they scored the 3 goals in the first half and they scored that last goal in the second half. I forgot at what time, but and in that second half you could tell that like PSG decided to just like, you know what, let's go easy on them because they easily could have scored more.
It could have been 6 or 8, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was no chance for Inter Miami. No chance. There was no build-up play. There was nothing.
Yeah, no. PSG just shut them down anytime they tried.
Dude, the tackles and the simple, easy passes out of trouble. Like, yeah, Inter Miami, they could have replayed that game 10 times. Inter Miami would have lost 10 times.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
How big. It's a big gap.
And I'll talk about PSG more like when we get to them going against Chelsea. But yeah, PSG though continuing the dominance and made it to the quarterfinals against Bayern. I guess the last group we need to talk about is Juventus and Real Madrid. So Juventus dominated, well, semi-dominated, besides the loss that they took against Manchester City, which I think kind of foreshadowed how they would do against Real Madrid. Because as good as Juventus are, the problem is they don't have the quality players. Like they do have good players, but they're just not like the people that will get you like the goals that you need.
They had many chances, but for some reason, well, not for some reason, they just don't have quality finishing.
Yeah,
you're right. Because they had the ball. If I'm not mistaken, I think the possession was close to 49%. They did have the ball a lot of stretches. They did try some attacking patterns of play, but when it was time to finish it off and get something done, there wasn't much they could do.
Yeah, and against the Real Madrid side, which honestly didn't look too impressive in this tournament, because of course they had a more easier group. But the thing that shook my confidence away from them was the tie against Al Hilal, because I honestly expected Real Madrid to do a lot better, but no, that game kept it close. And if it wasn't for the group that Real Madrid was in, I think honestly they probably could have struggled against other teams. Like had they had other European teams aside from say Manchester City, for example. I think they probably would have been in second in that group, or yeah. Real Madrid just didn't give me like much confidence, and I think that kind of was a
Imagine-
continuation from the La Liga season that they just had, where they were absolutely dismantled by Barcelona.
Barca. Yeah, Barca. Barca embarrassed them this past year. It was not. It was not a good look. For
Yeah.
Real. It was not a good look. Actually, that's. I think that's what got what's his name, Ancelotti fired.
Yeah, I think that was what triggered that, and so
Some
bring
say it's because they're trophyless for the first time in a long time. I don't think that was it. I honestly think it's the way that the way they played. They looked toothless several times throughout
Yeah.
the season. You know, I think that's the problem because you can go trophyless, but you had like lots of dominant streaks. You made it to a couple of finals, and the team looks good. But even from what we've seen here in the Club World Cup, their win against Juventus, even though Juventus are not looking good, wasn't convincing. The win against Dortmund was also too close, 3-2.
Yeah.
And if you watch the
Well,
Dortmund,
we'll get into that game in a bit, because we do still have that won't. Yeah, Real Madrid just wasn't too convincing.
Yeah,
but
no, not at all.
Also, just a quick shout out to the player that they've been starting in this tournament. Because I don't know if you've been noticing, but Mbappe he hadn't been playing most of the tournament up until that Dortmund game, and so Real Madrid was using another youngster, which a lot of people are joking that he might take Mbappe's role as striker. As hard to believe as that is. Yeah.
I think that's dumb to say that. I think it's dumb.
Yeah. Although I will say it's kind of ironic when you look at it though. Like PSG was still struggling under like when Mbappe was there, but the minute he leaves, they just become this dominant force, and Real Madrid just becomes and then Real Madrid just becomes like this shell that's unable to score that well.
Real Madrid starts to look like PSG. PSG starts to look like Real Madrid.
Yeah, so you kind of have to think about like, hey, yo, is Mbappe a curse?
Yeah. You start to get that feeling, but I still think it's dumb to say that this new kid should get precedent over Mbappe.
I will say the new kid has kind of like shown him his skills, though. He has had some great goals. Yeah. Okay. So the last group in the round of 16 though, is Palmeiras and Botafogo, and watching them actually play against each other, I was kind of bored with how like it was 0-0 for so long. But watching like the Brazilian fan bases like just like cheer their teams on was just like really great to see. Like you just saw the passion, like no matter, even though it was 0-0 for most of the game, like those fans are giving it their all to motivate their teams to get that final goal.
Yeah.
And I did not know this, but like apparently from learning more about the Brazilian teams is that Botafogo actually won against Palmeiras the last time they met, which was in the what's the South American Cup again?
The Copa Libertadores.
Yeah, and that's where Botafogo beat Palmeiras. So to see that script reverse, pretty fun to see.
Yeah, it was fun. For me, it was not boring at all. I tried to catch the Brasileirão, which is the Brazilian league, as often as I can. But obviously, because of the time differences, it can be very difficult for me. But still, it was not a boring match. I enjoyed the back and forths. It's one of those things when teams know each other. Usually, there's a bit of attrition there. If you had a match with Liverpool versus Chealsea, for example, I promise you it probably wouldn't have been as entertaining, as Chealsea versus whoever it is that's not an English team.
Yeah,
So
I guess
it,
that transitions perfectly into the quarterfinals then. So yeah, the Chelsea versus Palmeiras game was actually a pretty interesting story also to follow, considering the fact that that Palmeiras' youngster that they had was actually sold to Chelsea. So it was
and he
practically
scored again.
yeah, yeah, and that goal was magical too. I didn't think he'd make that angle.
You can see why Chelsea paid all the money that they did for him. Very good player.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far he goes in the Premier League too. So I'm gonna keep my eye out on him.
Yeah, yeah. It was a good game. Unfortunately, Palmeiras lost, right? But
Yeah,
we did not embarrass ourselves. That's the good thing. It's not like Chelsea destroyed us and blew us out of the water. The game ended 2-1, and we could have won. We also had lots of chances, but we didn't finish off. Whereas Chelsea definitely took their chances and held on. But it was a good game. It was a good game. 2-1. Decent
yeah,
result.
and again, it helps Chelsea get to the semifinals. So good for Chelsea. And yeah, and then let's see. I actually want to do the big game of the quarterfinals, which was PSG versus Bayern. That game honestly could have gone either way if it wasn't for like the two lucky goals. Because I'll be honest, PSG was lucky to get those goals.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I say about luck? I don't think luck exists. I believe that luck is just preparation meeting opportunity. Um, I think PSG are a well-drilled team, and they got their opportunities. They got lucky, yes, but you can get lucky and not be able to take your opportunity. Do you know what I mean? It happens many times. I would
Yeah,
say Palmeiras. I would say the Palmeiras match against Chelsea. Remember those two corners? We could have scored two very simple corners against Chelsea, but we weren't prepared to take advantage of those lucky chances because you have a situation where it's like the keeper and the player and no defenders inside. That's pretty lucky. But we didn't take our chances, whereas PSG did. So I wouldn't lean too much on the lucky side. I think PSG earned that victory, but it was the tightest 2-0 victory I've seen in a long time. Usually 2-0 means one team was clearly better than the other one, but this
oh yeah,
one, like it could have gone to Bayern. Bayern could have won 2-0. That's how tight that game was.
yeah. And you could tell too, Bayern was giving it their all, but just that defense. Like even though PSG had 2 red cards in that game,
Hmm.
they were still they would not break defensively. Like even if even with those 2 players gone, the attack would just make up like for those spots lost defensively.
I
And
think you saw proof of why they won the Champions League.
yeah,
Can you imagine? I can't name you another team, especially not in Europe, that can have their strikers and their wingers defending as if they are center backs with confidence, competency, and not complaining and bitching about having to defend.
yeah. And like
Like
I
that
said,
is a proper unit at PSG. It's
And
a
like I
good
said,
unit.
I'll talk about more about PSG in that regards when we get talk about the Chelsea versus PSG. But yeah, props to PSG for getting that win. That was really hard fought game, which honestly
Yeah.
could have gone either way. But for fortunate for PSG though, and yeah. So let's go to the Fluminense versus Al Hilal. So I honestly
I didn't
thought.
watch that.
So okay, we'll just kind of briefly go over it because
Yeah.
yeah, the game was also kind of a nail biter. Al Hilal was kind of put in the same predicament that they had put Manchester City in, where all they needed was that one goal to tie it, but unfortunately they just couldn't get it. And so Fluminense held on defensively pretty tightly, and honestly, at no point did I see Al Hilal actually like breaking the defense too much, because Fluminense was just like holding no matter what, and they just would not relent. Which honestly, props to Fluminense's defense for holding this for like the 2 games that they did.
Yeah. You don't think about defense when you think of Brazilian teams, right?
Yeah.
You think about wingers and dribbling and all that.
Heck, even in the North American leagues, whenever like even they're so focused on attack instead of defense. But yeah, that was a great win for Fluminense and a pretty good continuation of their underdog story into the semifinals.
I don't know. I wasn't when I woke up the next day and I saw the score. I wasn't surprised to see that Fluminense had won. If I'm being honest.
Fair enough. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought, with Mitrovic and like Malcolm at Al Hilal, you would have thought like that talent would at least like help them get more of a win against like the Brazilian side, but unfortunately not.
Nah, not Mitrovic, dude. Mitrovic was always in the first division of the English leagues.
Yeah.
He wasn't even good enough to consistently play in the Premier League. So personally, I have nothing against him, but I don't rate him highly. To be like, oh yeah, Mitrovic is playing, we should be concerned. Nah, I don't see it like that. No.
Fair enough. All right, so that leaves the final group, which is the Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid. Which, so as you alluded to, even that game wasn't too convincing for Real Madrid. Sure, they had the 3-goal lead, scoring 2 in the first half, and then the third goal in the second half. I think with Mbappe, it was Mbappe's goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. that finish was actually pretty perfect, to be honest.
Yeah. He's a very good player too. That's why every time people bring up, oh no, maybe Mbappe is not good enough, I just think people need to settle down and relax.
Yeah. But I was surprised by like Dortmund's like almost comeback near the end. Like that last goal that was blocked, that could have easily gone in had Real Madrid's goalkeeper not been that fast to react. Because if you looked, it almost looked like it could have gone under his arm. But
that could have been a very bad result for Real.
Yes.
Bad.
You know what I'm kind of upset about? I'm kind of upset we didn't get like a Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Munich in the semifinals. That would have been so good to see like 2 rival teams go against each other in this.
Yeah, but it would have been the same as like seeing Botafogo versus Palmeiras. Remember, like that. One of the reasons why it's so thrilling to watch the Club World Cup is because you get to see like, Dortmund versus Monterrey.
Yeah,
PSG versus Miami. Inter versus Fluminense. These are matches you'll probably never see in your life unless you're playing FIFA.
Yeah, practically. Or maybe like a friendly where both teams are using like heavily rotated squads.
Exactly. So is it really Inter Miami? So is it really Inter Milan if like 9/10 of the squad is not there? And sometimes the whole squad will be there, but because it's a friendly, no one's really taking it seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Club World Cup, and you know what? Props to Gianni Infantino, man. Props to him. I don't know where they got the money. I don't know. But the payout for these clubs is like north of 80 million just for qualifying from the group stage. There's a lot of incentive financially for these teams.
Even from what I heard from like Chealsea and like how much they have earned to just making it to the finals, I guess they've earned like 30 million alone just to make it. That's not even like the reward. That's just making it.
Yeah. Dude, it's silly money that they're making there. So that's one of the issues with like looking at when you see a game between a friendly between Inter and Fluminense, there's no real money on the line, so the teams don't really take it that seriously. But because of the amounts that are being discussed here, it's a real game. You're
Yeah.
seeing Inter actually play Fluminense. You are seeing Man City actually play and try to beat Al Hilal and get their asses beat. Pardon my French.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. And also, I think the teams also get money for every goal they score too. So,
Yeah.
like money on top of money on top of money.
So,
Yeah.
also another way to guarantee our entertainment, right? Because you don't want a situation where the fans are bored.
Oh no, yeah,
A
definitely
lot of
not.
a lot of what we're seeing is like a test run for the actual World Cup next year. You know?
Yes. And honestly, seeing this, like, it's gonna be interesting because so even the clubs like we're having we're struggling in the heat waves in some of the states here in the U.S., which will be interesting. And even I believe Enzo Fernandez actually from Chelsea, I think he actually even spoke out like it's gonna be a problem for some teams to deal with, but like this like he even said that this playing in this tournament actually kind of prepares them for that.
Yeah. And what I would say to anyone that would want to bitch about that is, my guy, when people go to England to play football, suddenly they're not wearing the normal jerseys that they used to wear in Brazil. Now they have jerseys, and then they have jerseys on top of their jerseys just to keep them warm. That's what football's about. It's about enduring in different weather conditions.
Yeah.
And we can't have a situation where the only weather conditions that are worth enduring in is cold and rain, because those also happen to be the European weather. No, that's not how it works. The American weather, you have to endure through it. Good
You
luck.
even
That's
have
what
to endure
football's
you even have to endure snow on some occasions too in here in the
about.
US.
There you go. There you go. But snow they're used to, because it snows all over Europe, and every
Oh,
league is
oh.
already at.
It may snow in Europe, but it doesn't get as cold like it does in some states here in the US. Like in Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah. It's like it's like when it snows, it's like a blizzard out there.
Well, yeah, we have to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like these sentiments where people feel like the European conditions have more like precedence over everyone else's conditions.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of like view the arguments against this tournament kind of like like I think like if they weren't gonna watch the tournament in the first place, then yeah. But yeah.
It's not a big loss. It's not a big
Yeah.
loss. It's fine. Bye bye.
Yeah.
And then, like you said at the beginning of the show, it's a whole lot of people that were complaining about the tournament. But if you look it up online, it's the most watched thing right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And people are discussing the performances. No one's discussing, oh, this tournament shouldn't have happened. No one's saying that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into the semifinals now. Then, so of course, you know what? Let's go through the Fluminense and Chelsea one, because honestly, that could have gone better for Fluminense. But yeah, Chelsea proved why they were better, and that's because of the talent that they have.
Yeah, they earned that win, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was disappointed with Fluminense.
Yeah.
Personally.
Considering how well they were doing defensively too. They just couldn't hold against Chelsea's attack.
Yeah, they could have done way better, I think, on their end in terms of attacking.
Yeah, that's definitely where they need to work on themselves in that regard.
Mm.
But I'll be honest
It's a
though.
good team.
Yeah. And it's pretty impressive that they made it that far, honestly, considering that no one really counted them as to get this far in the tournament in the first place.
Us included.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely us included. Because especially when you have like more talented sides from the Brazilian like league, like Botafogo and Palmeiras and Flamengo, You would expect one of those three to
Yeah.
at least make it further. But yeah, props to Fluminense, the underdogs in this story.
Respect.
Yep.
Well done.
Yeah. That leaves.
They won well, and there was no doubt that they were the better team.
Yeah. Yeah. Which then leads us to PSG versus Real Madrid, which honestly, I watched that game from the start to end, and that game, if
Shock.
you know that meme where with the Simpsons character what goes like, stop, he's already dead. That's kind of how I felt watching it. I felt bad for Real Madrid.
Oh, that was
And
bad.
And honestly, PSG probably could have even scored more. It kind of felt too like they kind of like let go of the gas near the end.
Yeah, that was rough to watch, man.
And here, like, I'll
worst
just go.
part for me is my son is a Real Madrid fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like for me, I thought Real Madrid would have at least put up a good fight. I thought it would probably been like I thought it would have been like 3-2 or 4-3, not 4-0. Yeah,
I thought it would have been like 2-0.
but
But yeah, not 4.
Yeah,
I
but this
thought
is-
PSG was going to win the game easily. I thought that was going to happen, but not 4-0 easily. That was crazy, man.
So this is where I kind of want to talk about PSG for what been wanting to say about them, and like watching this game kind of puts it into perspective, and especially when you look at their UEFA win too. Like when you see them play, they play as a team. They don't really depend on Dembele all too much. Only when it matters. They don't depend on like any single player. They depend on each other as a team. Like when they pass, who they pass to.
Dembele himself will run very fast to defend, and he has no ego like a lot of superstars will have on other teams.
Yeah,
and I think that helps keeping them united as a squad, because he doesn't sit up front pouting like, "Oh, give me the ball."
It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny when you mention that. Like when you look at contrasts, like in Real Madrid's side, Vinny Jr. and Mbappe, like they never really like to track back. So it's like,
there you go.
It leaves them
And
more open for a defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For attacks.
Yep.
Because there's less men behind the ball. You get what you deserve in football, brother. You get what you deserve. Teams like PSG and Bayern themselves as well. If you play as a team, you'll probably go further. But if you don't play as a team, you're going to struggle, no matter how good the players are. And Vinny Jr. and Mbappe, I think we can agree, those are superstar caliber players.
Yeah, any team would love to have them. But when they can't connect, which was what Real Madrid was like struggling with, especially at the start of the last season. It's like it just kind of shows when your team can't connect. It's like there's not going to be any real fluidity within the team. But like PSG, you can clearly see where like when players start to connect, it leads to like a well-oiled machine practically.
Dude, that fourth goal, they connected too much. See how many passes they had in the box in the 18 area? It was too many passes. It's like, bro, would someone shoot at the net?
Oh yeah,
they were having
without
so much fun.
When you kind of see that kind of going on, sometimes the teams aren't like fortunate enough to score, because at some point like the defense will like get the ball, but no, PSG was just like they held to the right moment to score.
Like I thought, but by the second pass in the 18 area, I thought, oh, okay, the chance is gone. They've missed their chance, you know.
Yeah.
But they kept going. They kept going, and then they passed again, and then boom, goal. Now it's a proper squad, man. It's a proper squad.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely left like everyone just jaw dropped at how badly they beat Real Madrid, which I think honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that Real Madrid has a new coach, I think things probably could have gone a little bit differently. But I'd honestly like it's honestly kind of hard to see that scenario how that would have played out. But yeah, PSG absolutely dominated Real Madrid. And when you look back at their scorelines too against every team besides the Buffalo goal, which is the only 1-0 loss they had, all their games ended in either 2-0 or 4-0. Even going back to the Inter Milan final that PSG had, they scored 5-0 in that game.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, what's more like important besides the scoreline? Obviously, that's important. But if you look at the stats, the amount of shots on target, the percentage of the passes that they have in the final third, because a lot of when you watch these channels, a lot of them aggregate the passing percentage, including defense, midfield, and the attackers. I was watching ESPN, and they had PSG's passing in the final third was 60%.
Yeah.
The final third, which is the place that has the most opposition players trying to stop you from moving forward or doing anything, they had a passing percentage in the final third at 60%. That's when I was like, you know what? There's no chance. Like, for me, if Chelsea win, that's going to be a miracle.
Okay. You know what? That's actually perfect segue into like kind of like who we think is gonna win. So obviously you think PSG is gonna win, right? So
Chelsea, no chance.
No chance at all, huh?
No, it's done, bro.
You know, okay. So I would have said that if it wasn't for the fact that I've been kind of looking at Chelsea more. Like, I think I've actually mentioned to you too that I like Chelsea as my favorite European team.
Yeah.
And so I don't follow them all too much because, like, you know, you're like trying to watch a game in Europe, like from my side, especially as far west you can go in California. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. So trying
it's
to
why I only watch the NBA during the playoffs because the hours are prohibitive.
Oh yeah.
To wake up at like 3 a.m. to watch a game. No thanks.
Yeah. So I've been kind of doing more research upon like this Chelsea team, considering like the only stuff I knew about like what Chelsea was going through was the fact like after the American owners came in after what's his name was booted out for the oligarch ties, right?
Oh yeah.
All I knew is that Chelsea was kind of in a broken state, but still they're kind of like building back from like kicking out their manager that got them their UEFA win and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so learning about this new team, I think I could see them winning, to be honest. And of course I'm going to be rooting for Chelsea, of course, but
I think you're projecting, brother. I think you want them to win.
No. So I've been watching kind of more breakdowns on the team and the players that they've brought in,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that I forgot how to pronounce his name, the Maresca, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's Maresca.
Yeah, Maresca. The way he kind of does his tactic is really interesting because he adapts to the team he's playing. He'll put in players that will make sense against that team. So I think he might have a good counter against PSG because defensively, I think Chelsea is pretty solid defensively. Reece James, of course, is a unit in defense.
Yeah, true.
And their center backs too. If they click together, they're a well-oiled machine. Like in the back line, it's the midfield where I'm kind of thinking like it's going to be key for Chelsea. Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, they got to be in their top game in this game because when they perform, I think they'll be able to actually like get out of like the traps that PSG sets up defensively.
I think Caicedo is too inconsistent.
That's my issue. That's the only
Yeah.
when he's on his game, he's brilliant. But when he's off his game, it's just like, oh man, no more, please. But it's just it's kind of that flip of the coin thing, though. Where like, is he gonna be on?
And then the other thing is that Caicedo got that ankle injury. Remember in the last game?
Well, I think they said he's
recovering.
Yeah.
But it's not a good look to get injured right before the final, brother.
I don't think he's gonna be injured like for that final game. I think he'll be able to play. To be honest.
You think he'll be fine?
Yeah. It didn't look that bad, to be honest. So I think he'll play. But
Okay.
I think the attack, especially seeing what's his name?
And then there's another thing. Let's not forget the other highlight in your situation as a team.
All right.
Madueke left to Arsenal. Remember?
Yes.
They bought him
I think he actually left like yesterday too.
mid-tournament. That's not great.
Yeah, no.
That's not. That is awesome, brother.
Although I think the reason for that though is because Chelsea's been chasing other players, and honestly they haven't really been using him too much, aside in a few scenarios where he is useful, or he does give Chelsea that speed though. But they've been using what's his name, they've been using the Portuguese guy more on the right wing. So I don't think it's too much of a loss, but like definitely a loss when it comes to like spearheading in the attack, because like he did bring that pace. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's going to be a big one. You guys have your one of your main midfielders is coming back from injury. You got a slight knock, and Noni Madueke, one of your wingers that has actually played in the tournament, has contributed immensely in the tournament. Gone mid-tournament.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound great, brother. That does not sound great.
But
Meanwhile, PSG have Ousmane Dembele. This guy scores 35 goals. I think he's got more than 10 assists as well. Behind him, you got this name is crazy. Kvaratskhelia and Doe behind him. And then you've got Hakimi and Nuno Mendes as the wing backs. And in the midfield, you've got Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha. Oh, bro. Come on. I know Cole Palmer is very good. But I'm concerned, man. I'm confirmed.
Well, they also have Nkunku too. So him in the attack too is pretty solid.
Yeah, he's alright.
I mean, he dominated in the games against Fluminense and Palmeiras.
There's rumors that they want to sell Nkunku to Man United. Actually,
yeah, I've just recently heard those rumors.
What are your thoughts on that? Because Man United is my team in England. What do you think?
I honestly don't think they should let Nkunku go. I think that would be a big mistake because he brings a lot of creativity in that attack.
But he's so injury ridden.
Yeah,
he's injured a lot, bro.
Yeah, that's the one downside about him. I can see why they would let him go, but at the same time, that creativity has helped Chelsea in a few occasions already in the tournament.
That's fair.
Fair. But aside from him, I don't
want him on my team.
I think the other star player in the defense would probably be Cucurella too, because that man, especially if you look at his time in the Spain team for their national tournament, he was playing pretty good. He's like on fire this year.
Very good player, Cucurella.
So I think if him and Malcolm could hold up that back line, and if Cucurella's on top of it in terms of the attack, which he's been doing a lot more in this tournament, I think they will give Chelsea a lot more chances than the attack, to be honest. That's if they can hold defensively too at the same time.
That's the only way you guys can win.
Yeah.
You need to figure out a way to have Kukurea attacking, but also being competent defending.
Yeah. That's what I think.
As much as Kukurea is a good player, I don't think he has the stamina for all of that, bro.
Yeah.
I think he's only great, even in Spain, when he plays for the national team, he's only great going one way. So the team has to like pick Kukurea. Kukurea is a left back or right back? Which side does he play? I know
He's a right back.
I'm just
Or not left back. He's a left back. Because Malcolm
back,
takes that.
alright.
Malcolm takes that right back role.
Okay, so for me, I would say that the coach Maresca would have to decide like, all right, Kukurea, you are going to attack. Malcolm, you need to stay back for any eventual counter attack. But you can't have both of them going up, because then you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Because if Kukurea can track back, but if he tracks back several times, he'll be tired by the second half. And
Yeah.
you don't know how long this game could go. It might go to extra time. So I would be concerned about using Kukurea going forward and back as well.
Yeah, I can see that because like when you look at him too in his games, because like he runs a lot. He tends to tire out like near like midway of the second half.
Yeah.
So I think for the attack that what Chelsea would suit Chelsea perfect against PSG would probably put João Pedro, because I think he showed his speed, his high press and like speed can stretch the opposing team's defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Especially looking at how they absolutely were like opening up Fluminense too. I think if they have him on that left wing role like they had before, that would be great. Mm-hmm. And I want to. I always forget his name. Delap, whatever, right? They're number 9. I think he would be pretty good for being their striker. Yeah, he's slow, but he's pretty good in finishing. And what? You don't agree?
You said it. He's slow.
Yeah.
He would need, like, Maresca's play style does not cater very well to slow players.
Yeah.
Because like, even Chelsea's build-up is not slow.
Yeah, especially when you count Pedro Neto on how fast he is as the right wing too.
Yeah. Then you got like Kukurea, and those guys want to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not really the type of players.
And that's why I kind of think that they do have a good chance, because when you look at like some of the teams that PSG has struggled with, like Aston Villa in the UEFA tournament. Mm-hmm. They apply that pressure constantly, and I think if Manchester City if I think Chelsea can do it, then I think they have a pretty good chance of winning. That's why I kind of have hope that they can win this.
Yeah.
Color me blind.
I think.
But yeah, that's just my whole thought process. Mm-hmm. And not to mention this. When you actually look at this too, Chelsea in terms of roster are a much like younger team. Like all their players are like under 30. So
yeah,
sure some of them don't have that experience, but like they do have a lot of talent, and I think that they can easily outpace some of PSG's players.
I wouldn't say outpace.
Okay, maybe not outpace.
I would say they can outlast the PSG player.
My only thing is because the only fear I have is because I've been watching a lot more of Enzo Fernandez, and while he is really good at passing the ball, he's not good at holding it. Like when he's getting pressure on him, he loses the ball quite frequently. Mm-hmm. That's where I think
the reason why he loses the ball, he doesn't panic with the ball.
Yeah.
He loses the ball many times. It's because he's trying to play out
Yeah.
of pressure. And there's a couple of goals. Obviously, people like to focus too much on the guy that scored the goal and the guy that assisted the goal. But if you watch the match, you'll see that there's a lot of goals that Chelsea will score, and Enzo Fernandez is the one who did the breakout pass.
Yeah.
You know, like there was pressure and whatever, and then Enzo is the one who made that killer pass that started the entire movement, and then boom, 2 or 3 passes later, there's a goal. But people don't really remember where the whole thing even started.
Yeah.
So I I look a lot at Enzo Fernandez the way I look at like Bruno Fernandez from Man United. Bruno loses the ball a lot, like a lot, but he breaks down a lot of opposition defenses with his initial risky passing, and that's the problem with risk, man. When you take risks, you lose a lot, but you also win a lot. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be concerned with Enzo if I were you.
Yeah.
So it's a very good player to have because creative. There's lots of players in the midfield that will pass side to side, you know.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
one of the few who's brave enough to be like, no, no, no. We're trying to get a goal here. We're trying to
Yeah.
move
Pass it down
forward.
the
We're
mid.
trying to get.
Pass it down the middle, or pass it directionally to a winger. I've seen him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So sometimes those passes don't pan out. In fact, most of the time those passes don't pan out.
Yeah.
But then again, when you lose possession in midfield, losing a goal, you know. So you can kind of afford for him to lose those balls. The good thing is when one of those does get through, boom, you're 1-0 up. That's why it's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
The real concern for you guys is your midfield with
Yeah.
Caicedo. For me, I would be worried with Caicedo and Cucurella staying viable in terms of fitness for the whole game. That would be my real concern if I was you.
Yeah, and that's where my concern is too. Aside from like the defense, like if Cucurella leaves an opening,
Mhm.
but yeah, the midfield is where my concern is, especially with Moses Caicedo. Like you mentioned earlier, his flaws, but yeah, if they're not on their game and they're like slow to like react to, and if they're not putting the pressure on PSG, I can absolutely see them pulling a win pretty easily.
It could go badly for you guys pretty quick. And PSG, as we've seen in this tournament, they do not mess around. Whether it's from skill or from luck, those guys, as soon as they smell blood in the water, they're ready to pounce.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where they need to be careful. But that's just my pick. But yeah, you obviously choose PSG.
Yeah, yeah. But what's your score? No, what's your predicted score since you're saying Chelsea?
My predicted score, honestly, I can see this just being a 1-0 type of game.
1-0, 1-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know what? That's actually not a bad shout because if you want to outscore a team, you don't want to compete against PSG.
Yeah. that's where you open up a lot of risk when you're not playing like safe or not playing too defensively. Because if you're playing too much on the attack, you leave yourself open on that counter.
And they love that at PSG. They absolutely adore it. I think it's going to be 3-0 to PSG.
Yeah, I could see that being a reality if PSG can break open the defense, to be honest.
Yeah.
considering how on fire they've been in this tournament too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I would say 3-0, and
and okay. So the other thing that also kind of scares me too is the goalie situation. The goalies for Chelsea aren't the best, and obviously there are rumors right now that even Chelsea are looking to buy PSG's goalie.
that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't see PSG letting him go anytime soon, especially after this run.
Dude, this last season was perfect. They won everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
but
Nah.
Chelsea do have that money, so
Yeah, but PSG also have tons of money. Like, the only way a player is going to leave PSG is if the player wants to leave. But if the player is happy, the club is happy to keep the player. It's not a problem.
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I would be shocked if the goalkeeper for PSG is Donnarumma, right? The Italian guy.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't see Donnarumma leaving, bro. Previously, like the teams like Real Madrid and Man United and these guys, they previously approached Donnarumma because they were like, you're gonna keep on winning the French league, but you're never gonna win the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And they're like,
yeah.
come and play for us. Now, what's the selling point? What's the selling point? Because they just won the Champions League. The team is not full of old guys. So realistically, there is a path for them to like repeat. If not next year, maybe another year after that. They're young enough. So like, and PSG has some of the highest salaries in Europe. So exactly what would you be offering him? That he's like, you know what, I have to leave PSG.
Honestly,
I don't think.
other than the money, I don't see anything that else can attract them.
Yeah, but you know PSG is funded by Qatar, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
And Qatar has all the money in the world. So
Yeah, but so do Chelsea apparently with how much they spend on every player.
yo, Chelsea have a ton of cash. I don't know where they pulled it out from. This Todd Bowley guy, he's American, right? Todd Bowley.
Yeah, the American owners. Yeah,
Jeez, you guys like.
I think from what I heard, I think he comes from one of those hedge funds, which they obviously make a shit ton of money.
True. I'm just saying, like, Americans, you guys don't believe in subtlety, right?
Yeah, well, that's why they came in guns blazing, spending that money.
Yeah, bro. No
Even though-
patience, no nothing. Just like, all right, who's the best player? I'd buy him, buy everyone.
Well, that was the situation like a year or two ago when Chelsea moved under the American leadership. It was like all right, just spend money on players who are like top right now and young. Right. We buy you.
Yeah. And it's not, and then they don't buy players for like 3-year contracts or whatever. Cole Palmer is on a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, what? These guys think it's the MLB or something. But then I figured it out. The Chelsea leadership does not want to lose their best players to anyone. And they know that Real Madrid and Barcelona, they're sneaky, you know? They're sneaky. You see what happened to Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly he doesn't want to sign a new contract. He wants to run his contract down, and then he walks to Madrid for free. I think the Chelsea guys are actually kind of smart. I think they want to avoid situations like that. They want players to stick around till they're old and gray.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I guess with that, I'll just wrap up things here. Yeah, it's been a fun prediction though. Can't wait to see what actually happens tomorrow. That's the big day.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, Hope you guys enjoy this special episode and tune in next week for an official episode. And peace.